So right behind me is Yorkside Pizza, and this is one of my favorite pizza places in all of Connecticut because once again, it's not just pizza that they have really good burgers and really good like pasta dishes. And also it's interesting, it opened in 1969, which is my favorite year because the film Midnight Cowboy came out in 1969, what I consider the greatest film in history. And then also too, this is a very beautiful area. You can like go to Yorkside, and then there's Ashley's Ice Cream over there. And then, you want to read, Barnes & Noble is around the corner. And, right behind me is Yale University. So if I did go to school at Yale, I would have everything that I need. And there's also Donut Crazy. And also, there used to be Blue State Coffee on this street. But, they got rid of that. But, this is like, it's in a very, very good location. And there's also like Toad's Place. So, this is not just a, Yorkside is not just, on a famous street. It's on a famous street in New Haven. So, I'm just going to review my pizza lunch and tell you guys how it is. Wow. I always look forward to this. And, just take a look at how, that's definitely a beautiful texture. And it has a lot of like beautiful color to it. So, I'm happy to try this one out for you guys. Yes, they do their milkshakes very, very well here. And I also kind of like it because, I drink my milkshakes like I drink my alcohol, where I do take my time, because the reason why people don't get milkshakes with their food is that it fills you up very, very quickly. I also like how they put a bunch of milk in it, so it doesn't feel too thick. It feels like very liquidy, which I like, very viscous, which I like, because I don't like it kind of feeling kind of clumpy or too heavy. And it's blended very well. Like, I know this is Hershey's ice cream, but it's good. I know when you go to Ben & Jerry's, that's more of a high quality ice cream, but still I like the Hershey's ice cream because it's super sweet. It has concentrated flavors. It's definitely an ice cream that's kind of like, a type of Vice ice cream, because it's not like really the healthiest type of ice cream. And I definitely like the Oreo. No, I definitely like the Moose Track and the cappuccino crunch coming together, because it tastes pretty good. And also, like, you taste like Moose Track, which has peanut butter cups in it. It's all melting in this, so it kind of like, you're sucking in all the melted candy, which tastes really good. So it's a good, fusion. I'm happy with this. Wow, this is some really amazing cheese pizza. And, I also like the amount of pepperoni that they put on here. They're definitely not cheap. And also, just like modern Pete's, they really, really know how to do their toppings. Like, you don't see them kind of like have one slice with a lot of cheese and no toppings. You see them all have a proportion of toppings, which shows that they care. And obviously, this is kind of a busy time. It's Halloween. And there's a lot of people in downtown New Haven. There's a lot of people here getting good food, so they're not just like rushing things out. Like, everything has some care in it. So I can't wait to tell you guys how this is, and it smells really, really freaking good. And I also just like the crust. This is not like deep dish at all, but it does look very, very thick. So it makes me kind of know that I'm gonna be full after this, and even for a small pizza, it really shows to me that it's going to pack a punch. So, thumbs up to this. I'm very freaking happy. Very, very freaking happy. So I'll tell you guys how this pizza is right now. It's definitely really freaking hot. You could just wait a couple of minutes, just so nobody's burning themselves. but it tastes pretty good. I like their ingredients. Definitely the bread is really moist from all the grease of the pepperoni, and I like that flavoring. I like the pepperoni itself. It has good flavor. It's not spicy, but I think that pepperoni itself, they didn't put any spices on it, but it does have like a mild spice to it. The cheese is done pretty well. It's just that this is right out of the oven that holds it back a little bit. You gotta just like maybe have your pizza wait for like 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah, so look at this slice. Very juicy and almost perfect. I'm happy with this. The question I'm going to ask everybody is, what is your favorite college bar or college eatery? Because for Yale, this is their famous one. It's not Modern or Sally's or Pepe's because it's so far away from Yale. There was a really great restaurant when I was in Connecticut, when I was in went to school in Vermont, that did pizza very, very, very well. But if I was to come to your city and try out pizza by your college, what would it be? Another really, really good slice. It's really the temperature that holds this pizza back. Otherwise, there's a lot of positives. Yeah, that milkshake still brings all the boys to the yard. I have two slices left, and I'm really enjoying everything that I'm having. This really holds together, and since this is like, at room temperature now, I can eat this without burning myself or, looking like, I'm about to cry because it's too hot. Pepperoni pizza has an interesting history in my family. Like, I liked when I went to Pompton Lakes, New Jersey as a kid, like once a month, see my grandmother, because she would always order pizza. And it was always a good point in my life, my parents are good people. But, I always liked spending time with my grandmother, just having a break from them. It just reminds me of the pepperoni pizza that I would have as a kid. They're very greasy and succulent and juicy kind. And I also remember how my aunts believed that they need to put napkins on their slices of pizza because people believed back then that pizza grease gives you acne, which it doesn't. Even if you wipe pizza grease on your face, it won't. It just has to do with bacteria. The next thing that I would have to say is that, I remember like a bad memory. Like when my little brother was adopted, he was kind of a spoiled brat. He had really bad eating habits. Like my dad yelled at me one time because I used to call him little diabetes because I really wanted to ingrain in his head to stop, having really awful eating habits. Because what he would do is that he would take the cheese and pepperoni off the pizza and just eat that. Never really the bread or whatever. Or even just like kind of suck all the pizza grease off and never really eat the bread. Like he almost had a mentality, like he had his like an addictive personality. He almost had a mentality of just eating the most unhealthy pizza the most unhealthiest way possible. And it was kind of just like disgusting watching him watch. And I know like one time one of my relatives was visiting, so we left them a couple slices of pepperoni pizza out for them. And like, being 3 or 4 years old, he would always be picking off all the pepperoni, and that turned into an incident because it was almost like, if me and my brother did that at his age, we would kind of get spanked back to the Stone Age. But with him, it was kind of almost like, what do we kind of do with this? Do we spank him back to Stone Age to teach him respect, or do we just let it go? But the answer was just let it go. But I also kind of remember how, if I ever ordered a pizza, or my parents ever ordered pizza. If my parents ever ordered pizza when I was a kid, and with my little brother, I would get all the salad. He would get all the pizza with the pepperoni. Always be picking off all the pepperoni pizza pieces and cheese pizzas, and always eating that. So it's interesting. But thankfully my younger brother has better eating habits. But so it kind of brings up some interesting memories. One of the reasons why I like eating by myself is that I never liked eating with family growing up. Because I don't like when I used to order Chinese food. I always kind of hate how my parents had a philosophy of, well, if you order sesame chicken, I got to have some of it. It's meant to be shared. Or I know sometimes when I was a kid, if I had something that I ordered from a restaurant that was good, sometimes my dad would give us a knife and fork, knock my knife and fork out of the way, eating my food, just to say, what, I'm enjoying it. I'm actually paying for it or whatever. So, that's always why sometimes I like to go to restaurants by myself, because I always kind of was raised in that type of, if you got something good, my dad would be eating stuff off my plate, or my brother would be eating stuff off my plate. Or, if I had to split something with my younger brother, he'd be eating the unhealthy stuff. I remember when I ordered sesame chicken as a kid, again, I would get all the broccoli, my brother would get the chicken pieces. I would get some chicken pieces, but he would get most chicken pieces. He would just suck off all the sweet sauce and just spit it out, because he had a need to just be unhealthy. So, yeah, it's just, it's crazy, it brings up different memories, so, I know it's kind of petty, but, it's just kind of sometimes it entertains me to think about, how unhealthy my younger brother was as a kid. Obviously, babies and toddlers, they don't have a lot of sense, obviously. But, it's just, also interesting, too, because I did grow up in the, in the 80s and the 90s, so my parents, so, that type of generation I grew up in, parents were really strict about eating habits, but with him, it was a little different, but it is what it is, So, this is my last slice left. Overall, I really enjoyed everything here. I just think the pizza was a little too hot when they served it out. Just wait a couple of minutes, but otherwise, for a small pizza, it's definitely filling. I bet if I wanted to order another pizza, a large, I could do that. It does enough to keep me happy. And they did a great job with the toppings, very proportional and very abundant. So they didn't decide to be cheap with it. So I'm happy.